is to consider the matters raised in Mr. Laka's letter, and I'm doing prescriptions that you wish to take on the answers that I will give on all the questions that will be asked on all the points of the letter of Mr. Laka. Are there any further points on Mr. Laka's letter? Yes.
Mr. Chairman, you have given a ruling. Brother, Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Chairman, you have given a ruling that you will. Mr. Chairman, you have given a ruling that you will answer after discussing the whole paper. That is not possible because I'll tell you why. Your ruling from 1 to 17. It will take 3 days to answer. It took you 17 days to answer, only to acknowledge my letter. It took you 17 days to acknowledge my letter. And now you are saying in 1 hour you will be able to answer the whole letter? I don't think so. So why not take it one by one, and then if it is any left out, we can continue next day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Laka. By the very fact that it has taken us so long, because we were very meticulous in considering the points you raised, and we gave very high respect to the points you raised, and very meticulously, laboring in time, we considered your points for the very precise reason that the homework was done very carefully. I'm absolutely confident that I will be able to answer the questions at a go, all the questions put forward. Please do not underestimate my memory. Make your points forward for any points on Mr. Laka's letter.
Mr. Chairman, I have never underestimated your. Mr. Chairman, I have never underestimated your memory, but believe you me, I have ever been 3 months with you, and I know how you perform. You will not give one answer to any of these people.
I'm very saddened to hear that, Mr. Laka, coming from you. Right, anybody else? Mr. Laka, please.
Brother, Assalamu alaikum. I've got one, so please don't heckle me. Seeing and observing the blatant disregard of a resolution that was put forward by Al-Haj Ahmad Dungarsi and seconded by Mr. Manji, and obviously having heard his decision that he won't answer any questions. Now, taking the serious suggestion that was made by Mukhi for tomorrow morning, I think to cut the matters short, let's move to item number 2.
Yes, Ahmed.
Mr. Chairman and brothers, I really have a lot of respect and regards for the chair. I'm not saying for who is sitting on the chair, but for the chair. Because I don't want anybody to misunderstand. I was trying really for the unity of the community, that we give benefit of doubt, and even there are people sitting on that hierarchy table that will support what I'm saying, that we wanted everything to be conducted with honor and respect. In replying, and also just before the meeting, I was talking to some prominent members, and I said we must give benefit of doubt to our president and the executive committee. They are innocent until they are proven guilty. And this is why I moved. That resolution wasn't a written resolution. That resolution was just to test the mood and feelings of the members. But you chose to ignore it. It is your own wish. Now, if we want then the bloodletting, which we are trying to avoid, I think I would support Sir Glenn, and I would also say now that because we are not reaching nowhere, it's 10:30, people have started leaving, and if this is the ploy, that people should leave and only 10 people should decide the end, I support the move, and we move. We have heard. The President, according to this letter written by the Secretary, we have heard. We have heard on Eid Day. We have heard on Eid morning here. All the answer or conveniently the answers that were given to Mr. Laka's letter. I can really shed a few lights on the items that were where our President was very economical in his truth. For example, the money that has been spent in the salary. I have written to the Executive Committee. And when it was presented on Eid Day, it was misrepresented completely. We are talking about the special committee, COM. COM have written a letter to the President as far as October, saying that the community cannot afford. And on Eid Day, we hear a member of COM, and not the chairman. If we are strong enough, if we wanted to criticize on Eid Day, we should have criticized Nazir Jessa, because he is the president of COM, or chairman of the COM. Yet we pick poor Muhammad Nazrali, and in Eid gathering here, insult him. We insult the treasurer, that because of the reasons, ex-treasurer, Muhammad Ali Damsi, because of the reasons known to himself, that he has shown the income and has shown the expenses, he hasn't shown the income. Now, these are the words of our president, of our beloved president, who we have elected for first term and elected for the second term, and he has been very economical in his truth. And he doesn't want to respond to the wishes of the members now. All the members sitting here, he doesn't want to this thing. So I think the time has come now that the members decide. And we decide very swiftly, without wasting any time now. I would call for the second to consider, and if thought, we move that we are not satisfied with the President and with his entire Executive Committee, and I move a vote of no confidence. I move a vote of no confidence.
Thank you, Ahmed Bhai.
Now we just vote on that one. We don't know more replies. Finished. Vote of no confidence. I'm moving. On the entire Executive Committee.
Amir Bhai Laka.
Brothers and sisters, Salamun Alaikum. Can we have please a bit of silence? Excuse me. Please, please, please. I think, please, if you can give me your ears.
Proceed, Mr.
I can
Laka.
understand, Mr. Chairman, I can understand the sentiments that are being expressed by Ahmed Bhai and others. I can understand it, how they feel about it. But I don't know, Ahmed Bhai, whether you have given it thought as to what the repercussions of this particular resolution would be on our community, not only from within, but from outside. We want, not only from within, but from outside. I know, Ahmed Bhai, your heart is in the right place. We don't have to be wrong. You like the community, you like the unity of the community. You know that you can hit him or me or anybody else. But if anybody else from outside, if they try to hit the community, you will not stand it. I know that, Ahmed Bhai. And you all know that outsiders, we will not allow them to hit our community. Now, by having this resolution, we are exposing ourselves. I know how you feel, but we are exposing ourselves. Mr. Chairman, we request, Mr. Chairman, we request that please, if you could try and understand the sentiments that have been expressed, let's go one by one, let's deal with them. If there is a mistake committed, fine, we can sort it out. If it's a straight answer, we can go one by one so that we go forward. But let us not have this resolution, please.
Mr. Laka. Thank you, Dr. Laka. Anybody else who has not spoken, please? Yes, come forward.
Assalamu alaikum. I've heard what Ahmad Bhai said and what my colleague Amir Lakha said, and I agree with what Brother Amir said, that for the sake of the unity, we should not go for the resolution, and I will request our President that if he resigns, it will solve all the matter. Thanks.
Gentlemen, we will adjourn for 5 minutes.
Okay, Ahmad, we're going for a vote of confidence.
No, there is no private negotiation. There is no private.
Answer one question by one question. Don't say the whole question. Sometimes answer question number one. But actually,
No, just a minute. We have adjourned. Just 2 minutes. Do you want to speak something to me? What do you want to say? I'm going to answer your question about your own. Huh? I'm giving you full latitude. Don't break the rules. Please don't break the rules.
You can't do this.
As we are reconvening the meeting, can we please have silence? My only object of stating that we will hear all the questions based on Mr. Laka's letter, and then I will answer each one individually, was to save your time, that's all. Nothing more than that. I did not want to detain you any further. I can absolutely and categorically assure you that it was my intention and is my intention that I shall answer the questions to your satisfaction. That is the purpose of calling this particular EGM. Now, Mu'mineen brothers and sisters, brothers rather, the petition, if you read the substance of the petition, it says, we, the undersigned, are fairly disturbed that you have taken no action. In other words, the Honourable Secretary, on behalf of the Executive Committee, has taken no action in response to the letter of Mr. Laka. That is the premise of this petition. So the foundation of this petition is based on the premise of no action being taken by the Executive Committee in response to Mr. Laka's letter. But contrary to this premise, action has been taken. As it is stated in the Honourable Secretary's letter, a reply to Mr. Laka's letter was initiated some 10 days after receipt, in other words, before the expiration of his ultimatum of 14 days. Now, there is nowhere in the Constitution or in the precedent set by our Jamaat that any letter addressed to the Honourable Secretary, or for that matter the Executive Committee, has to be answered within a certain time limit. I can assure each and everyone here that I, sitting up in the office, receive so many, numerous letters in any one given day. And if anyone wishes to give me an ultimatum that I must answer within a certain time, surely, brothers, it is very unfair to hold a gun at the President or the Honourable Secretary's head, answer within a certain time or else. In fact, we have given more than due prominence to Mr. Laka's letter. It was received in the month of Mubarak Ramadan, and you all know what is our situation in the month of Mubarak Ramadan. In every corner of the society all over the world, there is always lethargic and lack of action during the month of Mubarak Ramadan. Nevertheless, within 10 days, I have given you sufficient time to everyone to speak. I have given sufficient time for each and everyone here to speak without any interruption. I have heard all the insults from the rostrum, and I've borne it patiently. Please sit down, Mohsin Bhai, and let me continue. You will have a chance to speak. I have never stopped anyone to speak. Can you please sit down? The action was initiated only some 10 days later, which we did not have to. The Constitution doesn't ask us. The precedent set by London Jamaat does not ask us. There is no precedent anywhere else in the world that if a member of the Jamaat writes a letter, that he can hold the Executive Committee to ransom by holding a gun to its head, answer or else. Nevertheless, within 10 days, we initiated this reply. Mr. Laka was told that his letter is being discussed at the senior cabinet level. Indeed, the senior cabinet met and discussed his letter and decided to convene an executive committee meeting to discuss his points. the Executive Committee sat on two separate occasions to discuss Mr. Laka's letter. On the first occasion, Mr. Laka had to be prompted to come by one of the senior Murabbi. On the second occasion, he decided not to come. The Executive Committee spent endless hours dealing with this matter, which we do not spend this kind of hours with the numerous letters that we received from other members of the community. We then drafted a reply, which was sent to all of you, answering each and every point in detail. And technically, the Executive Committee did not have to call this EGM, because the premise of the petition is false. The premise of the petition assumes no action by the Executive Committee, and there was action. Nevertheless, the Executive Committee wanted to give the benefit of the doubt to the petitioners, and it hosted this meeting. Although technically it would have been within its rights for it not to have called this meeting. We have called this meeting, we are sitting here, and I've told you that I'm ready to answer all the questions. Please trust me, I will answer each and every question as we have answered the questions in written form, and they have all been sent to you. Are you still insistent that you will not allow me to answer your questions on the letter? The petitioners, are you still insistent that I may not be given the opportunity to answer? Yes.
Mr. President, Asnani Bailaka has only been with you for 3.5 months. I have been with you for 23 months. And I questioned to the public when he presented his manifesto. Did you not get my message?
Confine yourself to the substance of the petition.
Please, I beg you, Mr. President, there is a serious charge on your chair that you are sitting on. Kindly adhere to that. Otherwise, we are moving the second part of the resolution. We move and we go for voting. Open-handed voting.
Still, I'm asking the House again. I am happy to answer your questions. I would like to be given the opportunity to answer the questions. At no time have I refused to answer your questions. I will begin by answering the questions so far posed. Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad Salawat. That the questions so far that have been posed was on the drafting, please, I will give you an opportunity. The question so far raised was on the drafting of the letter, which I have just answered you, that this was initiated well within the scope of Mr. Laka's ultimatum. The second point, raised, that the petition was put forward after all avenues were exhausted. I beg to differ to this. All avenues were not exhausted. We had a letter from Mr. Laka, and we replied to it. There have been no other avenues. In fact, the meeting of the Executive Committee was initiated, and a notice of agenda for the special Executive Committee meeting to discuss Mr. Laka's letter was issued out well before the petition was presented to the Honorary Secretary. So number two, therefore, holds no water. The third point, the EC has to call the meeting. You have stated that upon Mr. Larker's 17-page letter addressed to the Honorary Secretary, the Honorary Secretary should have called the meeting straight away. I beg to direct you to the Constitution that it is not the Honorary Secretary who will convene the extraordinary general meeting pending the petition sent to him. He has no authority to do so. It is very clear in explicit words in the Constitution that it is the Executive Committee which will call the EGM. And therefore, it was necessary for the Executive Committee to meet and to decide to hold and host this meeting. The next point regarding the offices, I will direct all members to refer to the minutes of the very first meeting, the handover meeting, on which there was 100% unanimous approval for Secretariat reorganization. As far as the usage of rooms is concerned and the lack of facilities to the educational institutions, this is a fallacy. There are only 3 rooms, further rooms, which have been taken upstairs, and these are the size of box rooms, small, twitchy rooms, which is not sound to hold classes in them, except for the purpose of holding tutorials involving not more than 2 or 3 students. In substitution to these 3 twitchy rooms that we've taken as an office, the Executive Committee has given 3 further rooms on the 2nd floor, very big rooms, as previously used as council rooms to counsel married couples and people in difficulty. And prior to that, they used to be used as bridal suites. Additionally, we have given this very large room at the back of the office, where the photocopy used to be previously, a very large room for the purpose of the use by the madrasa as well as Saturday Hujjat workshop. So in substitution for those 3 tiny little rooms, we have given 4 large rooms to the educational institutions. As far as question of alam and lash is concerned, above this floor does not only exist the floor above us directly, but in the ladies section, the top of the ladies section also has a floor. Some of the people who have been speaking appear to have forgotten that directly above the ladies section, there's an entire floorage with plenty of rooms to be used for teaching purposes by the ladies. There is no reason whatsoever why the ladies would wish to come on the men's side. Just like there is no reason whatsoever why the ladies on the ground floor would wish to come to the ground floor of the men's side. Similarly, there is no reason whatsoever why the ladies working in the first floor should not confine themselves to that directly above the ladies' floor. As far as preparation for alam and lash is concerned, there are numerous rooms above the ladies' section which may be used for that purpose. There is no reason why the ladies should come to our side. As far as running the summer camps are concerned, I find it very difficult to see that how 3 little twitchy rooms can stop the summer camps from running. We have so many rooms on the first floor above the men, so many rooms on the 2nd floor, so many rooms on the 1st floor on the ladies' side, which can be used as well as the annex. Those 3 little twitchy rooms are only suitable for counseling, for one-to-one tuition with the students. So therefore, it is not true that the summer camps will be inhibited. Indeed, as you know, that I have always been for it. I have always been for the development of the youth, and inshallah ta'ala, the summer camps will continue as normal. As far as Al-Hajj Mohsin Baid Ramsi's allegation that the closure of the 3 offices is against fire brigade regulations and insurance, I can assure each and everyone here must categorically that before we went ahead to this, I have spoken to the chief of the fire brigade, and the chief of the fire brigade told me that if the room is locked, provided there is nobody there, this is absolutely in order. We do not lock the rooms when somebody is inside the office. The fire brigade, the head of the fire brigade, in fact, laughed at me. The head of the fire brigade man laughed at me when I stated that if a room is locked, is that against the fire regulation? The head of the fire brigade told me that the first thing the fire people will do is to break the door down. They will not start looking for keys. They will not start looking for keys to open the door when the fire starts. The first thing the fire brigade does is to break the door down. What is against the regulation is to lock somebody inside the office. That is against the regulation. The office is only locked when there is nobody inside it, and should a fire arise, as I say, according to fire brigade people, the first thing they do is to knock the door down, and they don't go looking for keys. And again, with the insurance policy, it complies precisely with the sentiments of the fire brigade people. So there's nothing against the regulations of the fire or the insurance. I, as the head of the managing committee, will never do anything which would infringe or threaten the security of this place. And I can again reiterate that I took all measures to consult the chief of the fire brigade as well as the insurance of our property. Another point which was raised by Al-Haj Ahmed Bhai Dungarsi in connection with Committee of Major Events. Gentlemen, the Committee of Major Events was formed in the first term of my office, in the very first year, particularly precisely for what it stands for. COME stands for Committee of Major Events. So whenever we have a major event in our community, such as the 25th Silver Jubilee celebrations, this particular committee is wholly and solely in charge of running these functions. The Committee of Major Events was the right people to hold the 25th anniversary, and in fact, the celebrations of the 25th Silver Jubilee celebrations was initiated by the Committee of Major Events that we should host this particular celebrations. In fact, it was decided by the Committee of Major Events to hold it last year. But circumstances beyond the control of the Committee of Major Events, it was postponed to this particular year. And in fact, on hindsight, it was better that it was postponed to this particular year, because we had the benefit of combining the two events, the triennial conference of the World Federation, as well as our celebrations. So there was maximum participation from international communities as well. These are the points which have been raised so far, and I have answered them. Please come to the mic.
No, Mr. Chairman, I did not even raise that point because we haven't reached that point. What I said, that fortunately, I would say fortunately, you always had the platform, and whatever happened here was monologue. There was no dialogue. You decided to reply Mr. Lakha's letter on the Eid day. And what I said, that you are very economical in your truth, because you said, and if you want, you can get from the records just now, it can be played here, that you blamed this committee, that they let you down at 11th hour, and single-handed, now repeating, in commas, I'm saying, single-handed, you took on yourself, and alhamdulillah, you are able to go ahead with the celebration. And you mentioned a gentleman who was not even the chairman of that subcommittee. You mentioned Muhammad Bhai Nazrali. Chairman was Nazir Jessa. So what I have said, that even in your replies, in this monologue, that you took advantage because of your office and nobody could reply, that you were not very truthful, unfortunately. And I just cited that one. Now, what have you answered me now? See, this we can go for days. You said the committee was formed, and the committee did. Have you produced a letter that is 7th of October from the chairman of the committee who advised you not to go ahead with this one? Have you produced a letter that since your speech on Eid Day, that he has written to you, telling you that what you said on Eid was nothing but lies? Why don't you produce those things? Mr. President, you are still pulling a wool on our eyes. At this 11th hour now, the chairman is sitting there, and he can come on the mic and confirm what I've just said. He mentioned that the community cannot afford to spend £20,000. And we, as a committee, advise you and recommend to you that the only thing that we should do, they've mentioned about one thing, right? You have not followed the advice. This is your own committee. And I sympathize with Mr. Laka, because if this could happen with the committee that you yourself have nominated, and then when they advise you, you brush it aside. So what happens to poor people like Mr. Laka? We have elected him to come to the executive committee and work for the community. Here we have got the trustees thrown out of the executive committee. Mr. President, I think the time has come when you have to be very honest to yourself more than anything else. And please, if you go on replying the way you are replying, you are not telling the truth again. And I would seriously, since the subject has been touched, I would request, with your permission, the chairman of COM to come and confirm what I've said. Please, Nazir.
Before you do that, Ahmed Bhai, I'm the chairman of this meeting. You know the regulations.
With your permission.
Nobody is going to be barred from speaking here. I have been very generous in allowing people to speak, in allowing full latitude for people to speak without barring the time. Nazir Jassam.
Brothers, Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Chairman, before even I go on to the main content for which I've been asked to come here, by you saying early on that you do not have to call this meeting technically is erroneous. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, if you read that constitution, it shows how arrogant you are. You are looking at us as if we are nothing. We don't understand the constitution. You are the what you call the guide, the guardian of this constitution. I think it's terrible. Don't look down upon us. This Jamaat was not formed yesterday. It's 26-year-old Jamaat. You said I and my committee decided, for a reason unknown to you, to hold the hold our celebration the following year. That is a lie. I told you, instead of spending so much money calling all the people from all over the world and holding it previous year, we will make it into the 26th year so that we can combine it with the tri-annual conference of the World Federation. And you yourself have said that was an excellent idea. So please give us credit for what we have done, not give yourself the credit for everything. I'm very sorry. I do feel hurt when I hear such things. I wasn't going to get up, but when such things happen, I will, and I will read my letters to you. There are 2 letters. You also said nobody can put gun at your head, and you don't have to answer because you are getting too many letters. If that is what you think of your post up there, because you're getting too much correspondence, so you shouldn't answer, I'm afraid you shouldn't take the post. You are obliged to answer each and every person. If you can't, you employ more staff. For goodness sake, don't tell us what you should do and you shouldn't do, because that constitution is very, very clear. I'm going to read my letters now. This is the letter I wrote on 4th of October. The President, His Excellency Mr. Rahim, the President of the World Federation of Muslims, 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 Dear Sadiq, thank you for your hand-delivered letter of 1st October 1997. The issue raised are, number one, this is the first time CUM has been given the authority to solicit funds from the community members. As you will appreciate, this is rather too little too late. I have to be in my office 12 hours a day, Monday to Saturday, and now in 10 days, or shall I say 10 evenings, I'm expected to raise up to £10,000, not a mean task. I also find it demeaning for a man in my position to go out and collect funds from various people. This is and should be the duty of the honorary treasurer who has been elected for the task. Number two, I and my colleagues see no reason why we should be spending any money other than the cost of one dinner on the evening when you have invited the civic dignitaries and paid the fares for the Naqvi brothers. Number three, on the Naqvi brothers front, you have allocated 1 hour 15 minutes. You will agree it is totally inappropriate to spend so much money for so little in return. Number four, the schedule of events that has been given to us is something. Now what happened was, although we were to organize the whole thing, we were given a schedule to say what we should do. We were not given the opportunity to decide what we should perform. We were told, this is what I mean. It's demeaning to people. Every time you think you are the only one who knows. We are absolute idiots. How can you look down at these people, this community of 4,000 people? They were there before you even entered the mosque, Mr. President. You came very late on the scene. We were there well before you, and I mean 15 years before you. So please do remember that. Don't look down upon us. At our meeting, I was told in no uncertain terms the ladies' event is the chair lady's province, and therefore CUM has no jurisdiction over it. Mohammed Nasralli has not been consulted, nor he been informed of the program. How can we organize anything for the children of the community when the Saturday workshop administrators have yet to meet up with us? Into bracket, busy we all are, but surely they are answerable to the elected leaders of the community. Number seven, outings for children are organized on regular basis. Do we still need to organize more outings, resulting in more expenditure? Number eight, when any school organizes any event for the pupils, the parents have to pay for the cost of the outing, and they are expected to bring packed lunch with them, while we, a poor Jamaat, want to pay a couple of £1,000s for their snacks and their trip expenses. Number nine, again, I understand you wish to give cash handouts to some 800 pupils. This would amount to some 4,000 plus. I cannot comprehend how anyone can justify such an unnecessary expense. Number 10, on the wedding evening, the schedule is so tight that there is no way we can accomplish everything that evening, unless, of course, we let it run well past midnight. This can turn out to be a disaster because we were told to hold the function after the wedding. You all know what happens on a wedding evening. We just don't have any time. Finally, I reiterate that the funding of the planned event shall remain the responsibility of the executive committee. I do not wish to see repetition of the last event where the vice president and the chair lady unilaterally decided that Wattful Electronics were to foot the bill of the evening. Gentlemen, I wrote another letter, and that was dated 10th of February 1998. Dear Sadiq, re-Jamaat Silver Jubilee celebrations. After considered thought with regards to your Eid Day address, alleging CUM's inability to organize and deliver the program, I will respectfully remind you that on the evening of Saturday, 7 September 1997, when 7 of us met in the Imambara building to discuss the program and budgeting of the anniversary celebrations, you, in your wisdom, chose not to attend, and instead sent a program of events which you had unilaterally arranged, which cost the community thousands of pounds. Ours was to be a very modest cost arrangement. Subsequently, I did discuss the matter with you over the phone and also informed you that those present had estimated the cost of arranging various events as per your instructions would be in the region of £19,000. And this is not a small sum, £19,000 spent in 1 week. To which you replied that I should foot the bill as God has blessed me with wealth. Of course I did not and would not concur with you. In response to my request to trim down the expenses, you asked me to collect funds from the community, but were adamant to spend whatever was necessary to implement your desires. I am a prudent person and have over the years learned to be thrifty. I always spend a fraction less than my income, especially when it comes to the community's money, in case I were to end up with a deficit. Subsequently, you wrote me a letter officially authorizing me to collect funds for the celebration, to which I replied you on 4th October 1998. Copy enclosed. Now I fail to understand how you can stand in front of the community and blame CUM for having left you holding the baby when it was your own baby, i.e., you had unilaterally decided to spend thousands of pounds of the community's money. I was present on the Eid morning and having heard your speech and have concluded as follows. The reason I have said I was present on the Eid morning, because when I went back to my office, there was a message lying there. Dr. Sadiq Rahim found he intends to resign. Mr. Chairman, you were trying to get everybody's sympathy. I know I proposed your name for the presidency of this community because I wanted a change. I was hoping for the betterment of the community, not lies and more lies, and to hide them even more lies. And Ahmed Bhai, you are very right. When you said it was a monologue, I could not stand up from there to come over here to the microphone and answer the attacks that were being made to me. As a matter of fact, I have never known in my life this microphone, the Imam's microphone, being used to wash somebody's dirty linen in the public. Alhamdulillah. I hope God doesn't give me that day to hear this thing in the Imamwara. Let us do what we like outside the Imamwara, but not in this Imamwara. No, we don't want to take any woman's name in this Imamwara on the microphone. We have no right to, because she was not present either. Please, I request today that we put it in our constitution that it will be against the constitution for anyone to take any woman's name on the microphone. It should never be allowed in this community. I don't want to see it in this community. We must rise above these things, not degrade ourselves to the ground level. It's a shame. I have kept this in my heart. I did not come out and speak, but today I've been called upon to speak on this matter. It hurts me, and I will finish my letter. The points I've said here. I was present on the Eid morning and having heard your speech and have concluded as follows. A, you are washing your dirty linen in the public on such an auspicious day. B, having spent the money in an improper manner, you chose to blame others for the deficit. C, in the process you dragged me into it, although I am neither a party to your problems nor have I crossed swords with you. D, in my opinion, you were trying to rouse public sympathy, whereby you could prolong your term of office and squash the petition. It has simply backfired on you. Today, a vast majority of the community members are simply waiting for the SGM, which you are duty-bound to convene under our present constitution. E, to lie or to accuse innocent people is unforgivable, and when done in public, requires redress. I repeat, redress. I would welcome your reply. However, if you do choose not to reply, I will request you let all your committee members read this communication. I hope your members have read this communication. However, one of your committee members today asked me, you have written a letter, you're not happy because he hasn't seen this letter. It shows it doesn't even reach the parts it's supposed to reach. Thank you very much. Khuda Hafiz.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nazir Jessam. Anybody else who has not spoken who wishes to speak? Who has not spoken? Yes, Bashir Bhai. you like to speak?
ઇન્ટરનેટ ઉપર જાઉં છું આ બધું દેવાનું છું મારે ઇન્ટરનેટમાં.
Yes.
અસલામ અલૈકુમ. અસલામ અલૈકુમ વરહમતુલ્લાહિ વબરકાતુહ.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Thank you, brothers. I concur partly with Alhaj Nazir Jassa's sentiment. His sentiment regarding the lady's name should not be mentioned. I once again come to the same subject. If it is all right for the people to say the lady's name should not be used, then it's all right for me to mention the same. The source for the goose is source for the gander. I have time and again said, a lady has been maligned. And the lady has been maligned, the document contains in it, those who have signed with the document are endorsing it, yet nobody wants to address that. Poor lady, because she has got nobody to speak, everybody tries to give us a story. If we have to make the story that she is not at all involved in this, then why are we having a row with our Ahl Sunnah Jamaat? They are saying that Hazrat Ali's name is never mentioned anywhere, and we are reiterating it is. We are doing the same thing when it suits us. I once again urge those who have signed the petition and those who have started the petition, and that Mr. Lakha who has written the document of 17 pages, openly denounces this act and withdraws an allegation on a lady who cannot defend and is not allowed. Shariat says it is a tohmat, and it is a tohmat here. Thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else who has not spoken? Yes, Akbar.
I wish to be very brief. I take you back to what Fazal Tharu read. I don't remember the surah number, but it talked about bewaring liars. Now, as per reply to the letter, if you look at item number 5, the Cloisters Wood project, we are told in February 1998 that the project at present is at a standstill on account of lack of funds. That's 1998, February. Look at your Hujjat magazine, January 1998. We're talking about setting up special projects committee who will then report. And finally, let me take you back to the President's report of October 1997, where he says the agenda he has set up promised a youth complex, and this promise, consistent with all the other pledges and promises, such as the 3 days a week at Hujjat office, have been realized to fulfillment. According to you, Mr. Chairman, we acquired Cloisters Wood in October 1997, yet in February 1998, you're saying we haven't got it, we've come to a standstill. Please explain, or is this another way of being very, very careful with the truth? Ahsan.
Thank you. Anybody else who has not spoken?
Misled the community in your replies. I would like to answer. You misled the community in your replies.
Please sit down. Please sit down. Anybody else who has not spoken? When we wind up, I will let you speak. At the winding up, not now. Speak. Take the picture. Come on, speak. Speak. Mamdali, do you want to speak or do you not want to speak? Make up your mind.
My brother, Assalamu alaikum. I just want to correct Nazir Jessa's speech. He said that the president watched Jamaat's Dani linens in public. Public is members of this Jamaat. Either day speaking is not only the membership of this Jamaat. It is Shia Jamaat. Speaking about this Jamaat, all the failures, all the faults within this Jamaat, in all the Shia community, what does it mean? We are highlighting our faults right across the world. It's not public. It's a UK public. And that also, in that speech, as Ahmad has pointed out, the president also said, to quote his words, for reason best known to the former treasurer himself, that for reason that I myself knew, as why was income not shown. Now when I present the accounts and the balance sheet agrees, and the income has not been shown, what does it mean? I put the money in my pocket? Where has that money gone? He has got his treasurer there. The treasurer has got access to the computer. Could he not have asked him to print out the history on the computer to show what was